Yes. Hello. Hi. Hello, everyone. It is such a so nice to see so many of you today. Um, I have been asked that we introduce ourselves. So my name is Antonio Cataldo, and I'm the Dean of the Art Academy at the Oslo National Academy of the Arts. And I'm here with Julie Poli. We are going to speak about Julie's work for about 45 minutes so that we also leave some time for some questions. First of all, I would like to thank Marta for this kind invitation and for continuing or letting me continue these conversations and also to um, come to Lviv now several times to be able to create also further exchange, hopefully, with Norway. In order to start, I thought it was important. It is important to say a few words about an exhibition that I curated in 2023, where we invited Julie for her first solo institutional show in Oslo. And in order to do so, I thought it was important to say a few words about how that exhibition, which was called 459, came to be. At the time, I was working in a place called Fotogalleriet, which is the oldest Kunsthalle for photography in the region. And we were really looking about the relevancy of photography and what photography could do today. And our entire effort was to change the language from photography to images and how images nowadays shape representation. And in order to do so, we set out to change not only like the exhibitions that we did, but also the infrastructure bringing these exhibitions together. And in 2022, we dedicated the entire year program to questions of, to minority issues, queer issues, as Norway was marking its 50th anniversary of decriminalization of homosexuality at the time. And I also was looking at the history of the institution and how the institution had completely neglected its feminist past. And when I was asking to some colleague and friends about artists that were working in Ukraine and with whom we should get in touch, a person called Lesia Vaslichenko sent me some different strands of the field of photography in Ukraine, and one of the people that she suggested we should have looked into was Julie Poli. And the first time I saw Julie's work, and not only me but the entire team, we were absolutely, we couldn't not thinking of inviting Julie to be in Oslo and create a conversation for an exhibition that came to be. And when I will just say a few more words about the exhibition before we start with the conversation, because when I was looking at this exhibition, into the making of this exhibition, I was also looking back at a very important exhibition in Norway that Marta curated in 2008, 2009, called Whatever Happened to Sex in Scandinavia, which was looking at the intersection of the political and the erotic, and how in times of repression, or our repression of repressive societies are really functionalizing bodies in that sense and normativizing bodies. And she was looking back at the period of the 60s and 70s in Scandinavia when it became a sort of sexual utopian territory. And one of the strands and narratives that we wanted to explore with Julie's exhibition was very much to look at this intersection of the erotic and sexuality, because it seemed also that a lot of the struggles that were um, unspoken or little spoken about was exactly what happens in times where democracy is at stake, and therefore certain possibility of beings are not possible anymore or are becoming secondary. And I have to say, yeah, this was really like how our conversation also started. But today, in order to go through a number of these issues, we thought that maybe we would start from the start, because, and maybe we can put up the presentation so that we can start with the PowerPoint. Because for me, it was quite striking to read Julie's bio and the fact that she was born in a small town called Stakhanov, which for me had a lot of political implications as well, as an Italian who had grown up with a sort of like CIA deflected politics in the 70s, which brought Italy and the entire, region into an American alliance instead of Soviet alliance. And Stakhanov really was one of those names that resonates. So maybe we can start from there, and you can show some of the images from Stakhanov, and maybe you want to say something about the
Thank you,
town.
Antonio. And first of all, I want to thank you for coming, because I understand how not easy to put your energy after this super tight schedule and intense. So thank you very much. I'm super happy to see you. And yeah, we talked with Antonio and decided to start from super chronological. And I wanted to share with you some of my very first images, which I did in Stakhanov. And I was visited some photo club in Stakhanov, and I was inspired by Alexei Stakhanov's story. And in general, I photograph extractivist landscape of Stakhanov and holes, which all region was the soil was all in holes. So was my first, very first, point of interest. And yeah, we start to talk our talk from this point. Yeah, to and I was really inspired by. Was very curious with the story of Alexei, who was a worker, and the Soviets create the hero from him, and he created for one shift he did 14 norms of coil in one shift. And all my family friends was ex coal miners, or a lot of people, and also a lot of people continue work on closed coal mines, and which was already private, and it was like kopanka, where you just extract coal from just the soil. Yeah. I just showing some picture to my friends. I just showing yesterday, 2 days ago, to Valid, Renata drawn these photos, and I just randomly decided to include there also to presentation. Yeah, so we wanted to share some of background of Ukrzaliznytsia project, because I was studied in Railway Academy, and I was study management of railway transportation and custom. But of course, as a student, I had possibility to work as a conductor, and I was working one summer. And this is photos from my finish, the last when I received diploma. Yeah.
So you were born in Stakhanov, and then you moved to Kharkiv.
Yes.
To study at the train.
Yes.
As a train conductor. And I'm always very curious, because for me, Kharkiv is also very much informed by Marta and Boris Mikhailov and the Kharkiv School of Photography. And so maybe can you tell us a little bit more about, like the reason why you moved there, what did you found, and what kind of, also like, the first images that I saw of Julie were like these ones. They were like these super colorful images. So I was quite surprised when I saw during our conversation, we went back to the Stakhanov images, which were much less colorful, and they were really like much more addressing a complete different reality, almost, or a post-industrial reality. So maybe you can speak about this relation of a territory that today is not accessible anymore because it's under occupation, and then this other city, which was also like one of the main, or the formal capital of Ukraine.
Yeah, I was moved after school. Right after school, I moved to Kharkiv to study in Railway Academy, and yeah, and I was inspired so much by Kharkiv School of Photography, and also the group of young artists like Коля Ридный, Rap, like Lada Nakонечна, Nikita Kadanya. I was so inspired by their work and what they're doing, and also, yeah, I start from while I'm studying Railway Academy. I already start to taking part in some of exhibition, and there was first exhibition. I think this was my no. I think we need to skip some. Oh no, I don't see it. I didn't see it. I think we forgot to add these images, but okay. Yeah. My very first exhibition was in Kharkiv in коммунальная квартира. It was like квартирні виставки. I don't know how to say it. Communal flat apartment exhibition. Yeah, and it was like also zoomed with Nikita in Kyiv, and Kolya and Alina Kleitman was organizing also there in their flats, and I was also part of this exhibition. It was, I think, it's 2012. Yeah, and
And can you speak a little bit about this image that we see here? Can
about
you
this?
say,
Yes, of course. And this is my work, which I created and showed in Vogue Ukraine. And this was, they published this work. It was my series Kids, where I just thinking about what's hopes, expectation, and in general, like discovering the subcultures in Ukraine, and also, yeah, just cool kids, mm, parties and everything. Yeah, and this was my period, student period, also. Like, yeah, so.
And because maybe we can later go through it, but it was very interesting to look at these images, because there is and it was also very important to show them in Oslo, because there is so much of aspiration that is going on through these images, and of youth rebellion. There was a lot of fire in these images, and of course, one thing was to take those images in 2012.
No, this images was, I think, is 2016.
16. And another thing to show them in 2023. So, and you say something very specific about these images, about kids in the pamphlet that we published. Do you remember?
No, unfortunately, I don't remember what I say in 2023. But yeah, we can. Yeah, it's just a period when. But especially for our exhibition, this room, because we had 3 rooms, which was also chronologically, like one room was like my created as my teenage room. Another room was dedicated to Ukrzaliznytsia project, and another room, it was like my very first photographs with like a lot of, like, it was like images of memories, like, and which for example, now don't have already access because my home is occupied since 2014, and can't uh, I can't visit any like my house. So oh, yeah, I also create sound works when I connected to the young photographer who was in Stakhaniv that time, and we had some walk with her on my favorite places, like which was super close to me, and I also showed these works together as. To have some access to the places which is not physically uh, I can't touch. But
maybe we can show some of the images of the exhibition so that it becomes more clear. Yeah.
yeah, so this was the entrance to the room with the sound work, and yeah.
Yeah, because you commissioned this young girl that was a teenager.
Yeah, she was 14.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To go to the streets that you had wandered when you were.
Yeah, she is a like young photographer, and she was also asking me some advices and everything, and we had some conversation with her, and yeah, and we have some walks together, like online, and yeah, she recorded for me sounds, and yeah, and then I create the sound work for this room. Yeah.
Can you also say something more about because this room is very dark compared to the others, and maybe you can also guide us through, like going from the previous rooms where light was on, there was a lot of colors, and there was a lot of aspirations, and then you arrived into this darker room.
Yeah, there was, I think this was like peak, how to say it? It was the blackouts in Ukraine, and also all my community. It was connected also to my motherhood because, and all my friends who also became a mother. They was struggling when it was like only 1 hour to cook food, and even to go for a walk, because, like, for example, they live in 18th floor, and it's just super difficult to um, come back to the top floor. Yeah, so it was just like solidarity, and we just decided to put the schedule. You remember that was the schedule of
The times in which the electricity was
yeah,
available.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And because um, you made this image in a very particular way, and you really like bring all of these stories together in a very particular way. Can you retell about this image that again was done in a, yeah, maybe you can just retell the story that is behind this very specific image that we see.
This image was created and published in Vogue Ukraine for art issue, and the topic of it was, I think it was the year before full scale invasion, and the topic of the issue was future spectre. I and it's just like how Ukrainian artists like imagine the future, and yeah, it was, I think, 30 artists, and really great exhibition, and one of the cover I create for this issue, and yeah, I put together all these people just to like it was like all differences of cultures in visual codes in Ukraine. Like it represent different parts of Ukraine. Like, for example, it's east, south, and west, and like central. Like, so it was more like, and you can see Dao on the top of the, and it was just my like. Dreaming about how I see the future of Ukraine, like all together, all different, and like bright and super, like something looks like a paradise, for me. And it was in 2021. Yeah.
And how did the
Ukrzaliznytsia.
come
Ukrzaliznytsia.
about?
Yeah, Ukrzaliznytsia. I developed this project like 10 years after my studying in academy, and yeah, I just understand that this is the right time to put all these stories together. And in this is the photo from the exhibition in a railway station. I created this project 2 years, like from 17 to 19, and then I think 1 year I also working on a book. And yeah, in the middle of the process, I just decided to make this exhibition in a railway station, and it was just on the advertising boxes through the all the railway station. And yeah, and I don't know how it was possible that time, because we had so crazy rap underground party on the railway station, after party. I don't know, it was wild, to be honest. So this is some backstages from. I know some people remember this, but yeah, it's true. Yeah, so yeah, it was, and this was crazy. I just sent a email. Oh my god, not email. I sent just letter, just by the post, like to Ukrzaliznytsia, like, hello, I'm Ukrainian artist, blah 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 blah. Can I make some party on the railway station? It was fun, but they replied to me, because they're like, in this kind of organization, you need to reply if the letter is like заказной list. So they they start the conversation with me. It was possible. Yeah. So, and I prepare some of these photos to you. Yeah. So it was based, like, it was divided into 13 like chapters and different directions. Yeah, and consists like documentary and staged photographs. So yeah, and based on the real stories, or stories that I heard from someone, so, or experience, or etc etc. So
But you explicitly said somewhere that uh, traveling on Ukrainian trains for this project, or at the time you were developing this project, you said traveling on Ukrainian trains is an erotic experience.
of
Can you say
course.
something more about that?
Of course, you, especially in the summer, when you enter this super tiny compartment, it's like break all your boundaries. I think you undress, you sleep together with like some random person is, and of course, when it's super hot, like these poses, and of course, and if you go through the platzkart, how to say, like the this it's like super erotic, yeah. And of course it's always like a lottery. Like, I was traveling so many times when I was a student, from Stahanev to Kharkiv, and I was like, every time when I enter this compartment, I'm like, okay, what? It's like a lottery. Who will be my? Uh, and it depends on the mood, of course. Sometimes you want to chat. Sometimes you just like, don't touch me. Yeah, and no, I mean, no, I mean, you okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's consists super different character stories, and we have also some video backstage from. Yeah, we can we ask.
Do you want to say something about some of these stories before we go into the next?
Yeah,
Because
we can talk, of course, of course.
are there some stories that have remained in your mind more than others about this?
Um, for example, no, all stories for me is like in the marks in my, so they all remindable. But for example, this is the same women, and this is like my regular, I don't know, trips, how they began and how they going then later. When I was student, I mean. So you start, you never know who is sitting with you, yeah, and who is your partner in this amazing trip. Yeah, and then I don't know, when I was student, of course, there was some alcohol or just some I don't know, conversation, fun, and yeah, and then in the night it can be everything. Yeah. Yeah. So, and these girls, you can see them also in this exhibition in the main hall because this girl, one of them, she was 14 when I first met her, and now she's like a famous actress and in theater. Yeah, and yeah, they just met after 8 years in the station. Yeah, and I was really happy.
Because when I was asking you before about kids and that series, and especially this image that is in the space with in front of the fire, you said something very specific because those images were taken a few years before, and then you had worked with each one of these people that were part of these photographies, and then you said you were worried about some of them.
Yeah, yeah. Some people, for example, one person who was present on the photos from the kids series was shot in some after like super like rave after party like 5 a.m. Then after full scale invasion, he was already in the army. So yeah, this was important to put it together because yeah, some of the um, how to say, like, м, очікування, like, I asking you, I don't know why. Okay, yeah, dreams, yeah, expected dreams, they for someone, they was ruin, for someone yeah, so it was, like, super, intense and, yeah, and important to include these images, yeah. Okay, we can go, um yeah, and we can see the video backstage. I love this video. If we can. No. No? Oh. Yeah. So this is my photos from the left. It's already when I shoot in the Ukrzaliznytsia project because I also perform in like as a conductor. But this from the right side, I don't know. Sorry, I maybe the blue shirt. It's my shirt from my work period. It's a little bit small for me now, so it's like yeah. Um, yeah, and also while when thinking about um, this exhibition and when discussing it with Marta, and we talk so much how everything has changed now and how role of Ukrzaliznytsia also changed in Ukraine now because. For example, in my project of 2017-19, it was like super fun and bright. Now it's also bright colors, but some of stories, the new layers, and I wanted to spoke about them. And I think I add some.
Yeah, maybe before, because before we go to the next project, maybe it would be interesting to just because you were speaking about how these images changed, but already in 2023 in Oslo, it was your first like white cube
Mhm.
exhibition, and it was somehow also like a moment to rethink how these images could be brought into a white cube. And there was also something very paradoxical happening, almost like how can you like relook at these images with an eye of like in a sort of post-traumatic period in which you were living in Kiev, you had to leave because you were expecting a baby, and you look at these images in which like there is youth, there is inspiration, there is like, I imagine, I mean, I was reading this morning about the drug culture that was there in 2014 in Kiev, the amount of like rebellion that came with this like moment of the Maidan and the resistance that was to techno music and all of that. And so you really decided to look at the exhibition space as also this moment also of almost rethinking what happens with images and in an almost unconscious way in which like you can't have images that are like all in the same size or framed. Or can you speak a little bit about that process of rethinking how those images had already changed in 2023?
Yeah, I think for me it was really important to keep the structure and this I don't know, not решетка, як сказати, this, yeah, the rhythm and of the compartments, yeah, and I wanted to and for me it was really um this was very first exhibition in White Cube. It's true because before I was only show my work in the places which are super connected to the roots of the like heroes from my stories, and so that's why it was like Ukrzaliznytsia railway station, Cosmolot, like arcade center. So it was always like strip club or something, something what which super connected to my work. And yeah, in the white in the gallery and this cube, I was also trying to make this. Keep this structure and keep this compartments, but also, yeah, to put in the some plan, another plan, some accents, yeah, which create a new layers, new rereading of this story.
Yeah. Because, but also this comes in some ways from the Kharkiv School of Photography in some ways, no? Like because there was almost no distance between the images that were shown and the people that were part of the images. Or did you take this from that environment, or like the fact, for instance, of wanting to show these images in magazine and even in fashion magazine and at the whole of the train station instead of in a white cube? Or like where is this relation with like more museum space, for instance, or these spaces that have a higher threshold?
I don't know. I just think because I never think. Uh, I don't have like like academic education, of the art education. Like I do a lot of self education. Also, then I have like courses, a lot of everything. But in general, maybe because of that, because I don't have these frames, and I never think. About and also I was inspired by Kharkiv School of Photography, but the most of like the first my very first in Kharkiv the community, it was like Kharkiv Photo Club. The director was Borya Bliznyuk. I don't know if someone knows him, but he is like yeah, and we just had every Sunday like meetings with and this was like photography nerds, like who like photographs some some super specific thing, and we just met and it was also it was like almost like it's male photo club. I was only one woman there, and I just I never skip, like even if I was invited to the romantic dinner by someone, I said no, no, not in Sunday because I have photo club. Yeah, it was yeah, I never skip that, and we just we just meet each other every Sunday and just share, and it was super experimental, and I even never think first about cube, that's why maybe this.
Yeah, I thought it was important, especially for a person that works in an art school and works with education.
Mm.
I also see that most of the the most interesting movements are not born necessarily in art schools, but are born on actually on the fringes. And I think that's why it's super interesting to hear that, you know, like your practice doesn't come from you know, like a school in the sense of a style that comes from a sort of like institutionalized platform, but more from practice and being with people, and you know, like you take from the street, but you also exhibit on the street. That distance is not there, and I think it's quite fascinating and visible in your work, and also like the kind of perspective that you bring as a very feminist gaze. Although you know, like there is representation of nakedness, there is never, you know, it is clear who is the from where, which gaze is the one that is taking pictures. But yeah, maybe we can.
Yeah, of course. I see today the Polina Polikarpova. She's I think she's know also Borya, and she visited also Kharkiv. Yeah. Um, yeah, she's great Ukrainian artist and photographer also. Yeah, and returning to the um, re-
Marta's invitation for this
yes.
exhibition, because yeah, so you met Marta, and you and of course trains, I assume, a complete different space after 2022, and also so Marta invited you to rethink or to revisit this project. And it is interesting because you have prepared a few slides in which you're looking literally at some images, so that maybe, yeah, we can, maybe you can do you want to say a little bit more about the invitation that you got from Marta and the discussion?
Yeah, it was super extremely great uh, accident because Marta invited me to revisit this project, and then in the same time it was also invitation from Oslo Railway Station because they were inspired this exhibition in the Kyiv railway station. And yeah, so that's why I have also opening 25th in the railway station in Oslo. Yeah, and we start to talk with Marta a lot, like how um, what is changed now, and I prepare some ideas, and we talk, like for example, I had in my previous project the work which named T, yeah, and then when you travel you just see the combat T, yeah, and this is, you know, when you see these details, small details where but everything is already changed, like new layers and different stories. For example, now we have this women compartment which not exist before full scale invasion. And I also talked to Ukrzaliznytsia, and they um, going to take it off after the victory. Yeah, and so um, we discuss on how what's changed. And for example, Sonia Mishka photo also, it was Mishka is leaving, yeah, and now uh, the lot of families with the kids, for example, they go abroad, and the um, military the guys who is not allowed to, people males who not allowed to leave the country. And also yeah, so I created new stories, and I wanted to think about these meetings, saying goodbye, and the life of the platform, yeah, who is this people today, and how everything is changed, how everything is changed. This was my super personal story. I just talk, I tell you between us, but I can share it also. Like for example, this is my usually. It was my usually, like my mom's put me something, yeah, to the tormozok. I don't know how to say.
The turban.
Yeah, yeah. And this the new work, it's like medical aid kit what I have always with me, and usually, and I think it's when I go to Helm to go to Berlin, like to take a train to Berlin, I forgot my medication, and I just got some crazy panic attack, just like, oh my God, I can't handle it. And I just asked, I was sitting with another women's, and I just say, oh my God, do you have something like, and everyone just bring like tons of this, these boxes with medication, with tranquilizers, because I think it's like what everyone had today. And yeah, so for me, it was like significant shift what what to bring to train today. Yes, and yeah, this is the Helm train station. Also, for me, it's important because I all and a lot of Ukrainians and me also often I go to Berlin through this station, and yeah.
Yeah, we spoke a little bit about. I was very impressed because I arrived by train, and both when I was in Poland at the border, but also when I arrived here, the most thing that I saw it was love, like people that were kissing, embracing, or like hugging each other, or also like this, yeah, this person. So yeah, I thought trains are always like carriers of this sort of uh, anticipation or waiting for something, or they're really carriers of something which is change as well, but also like this period of stillness, contemplation. So
Yeah, or some secrets also. Yeah. Mm, yeah, this is from this photo is my um, mm, it was beginning of my series from 2025, and it was yeah, it was shocking because I think a lot what has changed, how it's changed. But when just came to station and waiting, and I was waiting for train from Kramatorsk with military people, but it was accidentally that medical train is arrived, because usually even Ukrzaliznytsia, even station, they didn't know when the train is arrived because in terms of safety, and it was accidentally that when we wait in Kramatorsk train, the medical train is arrived, and it was so intense because the light was off and turned off, yeah, and it in totally silence. I just see like 50 ambulances, and it's start to arrive in the full darkness, yeah, and just in full silence, and it was sirens at the same time, and yeah, so it was super intense. And this was the first photos that from which I start, and then I get permission finally, because it was super also long way to make photos inside.
yeah, because the trains, yeah, have become the main mean of yeah, everything. Our life happens on trains. Um, do you want to go to the next images so that we can?
Yeah, so then we have I have just some stories from the new project, and mm, this is Anaida. I know her from the Poodle Club because I'm love. Yeah, she's from Kharkiv, and this is the women carriage, and and this is the story of the family. They moved to Warsaw, and uh, mm, this is the train where I get super big panic attack, because you can sit here. Can you imagine? You can only lay, because there's three benches, yeah, and you can't sit. You can only lay, and it's it's crazy. Yeah. Mm, yeah, and yeah, we just decided to put this in the end of our presentation to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, because I was always very fascinated, and I think this was also one of the first ways in which you became very sort of known in different communities, and for fanzines, and maybe also in some sort of circles.
Mhm.
Because these fanzines have completely different distributions, and can you speak about how this fanzine came about, and what drove you to that?
Yeah, I just the first issue. This is the first issue with a cosmic vibe. This was in 2000. It was created in 2021, and it was my just artwork. I didn't expect it to continue as a periodical magazine or something like that. It just was my idea of intervention of because in that time we had like Playboy, I don't know, or something like this male gaze magazine where you can see only the women's body and sexualized just and I just create this super attractive cover also. So and I put the also super like bold naming, like the biggest orgasm, or say like or something like this, became a singer number one, like, so I just put super like this a name in, but inside there is like a feminist artist Kinder album with her drawing, then Nina Murashkina, street art by 665. So it was like more like intervention. So and when we had a performance in railway in a subway, and for the first issue, and I found I searched a person who will sell the magazine there, and I asked some people who sell plasters and I don't know this kind of magazine also in metro, and I just asked them, okay, can you sell this? And he opened the magazine and say, okay, how much it costs? And I say, okay, 200 grivnas. and and he say, oh my god, this is the shit, I can't what it's if I would pay for this 200 grivnas, I was super upset. Why you know, because he expected like something else inside. So yeah, so that's why I so that's why this is like our friend from Kedvi. I can find the seller from from metro, from subway. He say it's not good erotic magazine. Yeah, and then just it was super inspired, because after this issue I just my email box just was exploded by nudes from people, just from okay, from amazing artworks which are super unique and out of my bubble of my contacts, of my friends and everything. So I just was super inspired by this, because like I understand how many interesting people, and I want to show this artwork, because a lot of them, they just do it in the table, so they just didn't know how to publish, where to publish it, and yeah, and that's how it's this rubrica, the second section of nudes started, because people just send nudes, and it's amazing. Amazing how uh, different uh, people understand their sexuality, their body, they and it's like for me it's really important to publish, to get to make visible this.
You said something about this Send Nudes project.
Mhm.
The fact that during COVID time there is no distance anymore between the couch from which you work and the couch in which you consume pornography.
Yeah, you had some Zoom, yeah, but it was relevant in after COVID. But now it's also a new layer of reading this because a lot of people in front line, so there is no physical connection right now, and you can also you can't you can intimate communication now. It's also through nudes, through this because you can't be together. Yeah.
I think we will stop here, but if we can open up for some questions, if there is any. Good.
Hi, thank you for this talk and the presentation of your work, Julie. I actually had a question, maybe it's a bit wide. So when I saw like the photographs that you did when you were living in Stahanov, I saw that they quite have like a documentary approach, and I'm really interested why once you were shooting Ukrzaliznytsia, you decided to make sort of a stage photo shoots, even though they rely on like your stories. Why you didn't stick with how the change between documentary and staged photography happened in your practice? Thanks.
Thank you for the question. I start from the documentary. It's true, and I was super inspired by um, documentary photographers. But then I have also background with fashion, which continues around, I don't know, 5 years maybe, and maybe more. And mm, and because some stories they are based on memories or something, so I just recreate and stage them, and so and also I love to work in this approach when you blur these boundaries just between documentary and stage, and you just can't can create your own world, like a little bit how like acid house, I don't know how to say this. And push more your imagination, and something like this, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it hard to find models for your shoots? Uh, how do you find them? And if it's like you have different models from different backgrounds and ages and lifestyles, so how do you make them feel comfortable with you and your shoots?
Thank you for the question. Usually, I do street casting, for example, or it's a friend of the friends, or sometimes it's models, of course, especially when I was working in fashion industry. But for my artworks, usually it's sometimes I do casting in Tinder. For example, for first Ukrzaliznytsia, it was just I just buy Tinder Plus, and I, so it's really deep research and still.
I actually forgot that I had one more question, which I think I'm very curious as you're a person, as far as I understand, from Lugansk region, Stakhanov, right?
Sorry, I didn't Yeah, Lugansk
Yeah,
region.
and
Yes.
for me, I'm just curious because I have seen that a lot of my friends who left occupied territories, they still refer to the old, and they still name the cities by their old names, because as far as I know, Stakhanov was changed to Kadivka in 2016. I just would love to ask like your opinion on it and why you still use this old name. Why don't you change to the new one? Is it important for you, or is it just a question of that you get used to it and you just don't think that it's Kadiv now and still Stehani for you? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for this question. My when my grandmother was alive and she was lived in Stakhanov, it was Kadivka exactly. But for me, all my childhood and all my memories is connected to Stakhanov. So yeah, that's why I think it's more personal connection to this word. Yeah, of course. And now it's Kadivka. Yeah, yeah.
It's a very beautiful question. Thank you for having brought that up. I also
Yeah.
thought if I should have referred to, yes.
Yeah.
If there are no more questions, maybe we should keep it on time, as there is a very busy schedule ahead, and so that everyone can also move to the next event, which is at 4:30.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for being
Thank you
here.
so much.